So, what to say about not only what happened last week, but what's also going to happen this week. Bear in mind, I'm doing this video on Sunday. So, if stuff has changed by Monday, then, oh my, I highly suspect it might. But we shall plough on regardless. So, this is from Prospect Magazine, and I think this, once again, sums up what we've been talking about for the longest time, that sooner or later, the idea that the Brexiteers are driving this car and are driving it straight into a wall and don't care that there is a wall in front of them, because to them it's a fantasy that it's an open road with green hills and, you know, smiles all the way. However, that is not the case. We've already discussed why that is, but this sums it up completely again. It is now clear to all who look, Brexit is a humiliation of historic proportions. The chaos is the entirely predictable consequence of Brexiteer delusion. And this is by Jonathan Liz, on the 15th of November in Prospect Magazine. If you want to know, I'll leave a link down below. So, the sound in the airwaves today is the Brexit car has finally meeting reality's wall. For the first time since the referendum, Leavers join Remainers in seeing it. MPs are united in despising the substance of this deal and what it represents for Britain's economy and autonomy. The sole enduring amazement, it has taken 2 years for the Brexiteers to understand the fully predictable and predicted consequences of their folly and delusion. It seems incredible that Theresa May delivered her party conference speech just 6 weeks ago. In that speech, she correctly identified that the EU was demanding either a soft Brexit inside Brussels' economic instruments without any hand on their levers, or an economic wall in the Irish Sea which splits Great Britain and Northern Ireland. She vowed to sign up to neither. In the end, she has signed up to both. The Brexit deal is alternatively packed with detail and littered with blank spaces, but certain facts remain inescapable. The United Kingdom will stay inside the EU's tariff regime, that is to say, inside the EU customs union, until such time as the EU sees fit to release it. The government has had 2 years to uncover the unicorns which will enable the Northern Ireland and Ireland to operate a different tariff and regulatory regimes while preserve a fully open border. It failed. The unicorns will not emerge now, and Dublin and Brussels will join in a pursuit of them. The UK will never leave the customs union. The Prime Minister therefore told an all but outright lie in the Commons today when she said that the UK would be free to sign up to trade deals with third countries. But we are still aligned with EU tariffs and also multiple standards. Major trade deals include limited service provisions, but still predominantly depend on abolishing tariff barriers on goods. No country would negotiate a deal with a partner unable to do so. The trade deals cannot and will not take place. May's other key red line also lies in tatters. The UK will have a border in the Irish Sea. Animal products will face increased checks at the Irish ports, and other goods checks will take place before they reach them. According to the withdrawal text, Northern Ireland will even have its own designation of UKNI. That's quite a climb down for the Prime Minister, who declared in her faith in the precious union and resolved never to accept a form of economic separation between its constituent parts. The rest of the deal spells disaster and humiliation. The government have aligned on key EU standards with no say on how they are devised or implemented. Our departure from the single market will also require new checks at the Channel, as French and Belgian officials conduct inspections on agricultural goods. This spells year-round disruption at Dover, and as previously uninspected lorries now face barriers with predominantly grave consequences for just-in-time manufacturing and supplies to supermarkets and hospitals. The only thing May has in her armoury is that the deal ends freedom of movement of people, a reduction of Polish plumbers at the expense of any substantive control over the economy or trade. Only the Prime Minister's groundless hostility to immigration has proved strong enough to survive the negotiations. The deal was dead from the start. Labour and the Remain supporting parties will vote against it because it fails to deliver the promise of exact same benefits of membership. The DUP will vote against it because it compromises the union. The hard Brexiteers will vote against it because it keeps us in the customs union. And numerous Tory Remainers will vote against it because it robs us of all our current influence, while at the same time managing to hammer the service sector and the economy at large. If that wasn't enough, which it signals a no firm destination for the trade deal and no time to negotiate it, the uncertainty to businesses will now prove toxic, and many firms will withdraw their interest before succumbing to it. Jacob Rees-Mogg rose in the Commons today to decry the deal and to itemise May's broken promises. Dominic Raab resigned, complaining the UK would now be economically divided and that we would have no unilateral means of exiting the backstop. By the way, he was the guy that negotiated this. He was chief negotiator. As with Michael Gove, both of these people immediately realised, oh shit, we're fucked and can't do anything. Esther McVey accompanied him, bemoaning the fact that the deal was now considered better than no deal, which was correct, and each is to blame. Anyone who read the joint report in December 2017 should have understood what it meant for Northern Ireland, and consequently what it meant for Brexit. A customs union and a regulatory alignment have been guaranteed for almost a year, combining ignorance with incompetence. The Brexiteers' refusal to accept the truth and denounce those who did. No matter, the truth has glared for 2 years, but at least the Leave leaders see it in plain sight. The only available Brexit delivers integration with powerlessness. It takes back control for the EU alone. It reduces the UK to a mere lobbyist for its own economy and gives other countries a veto over its trade policy. It has no advantage over the status quo by any conceivable metric. The reward for Britain's xenophobia is that it will become a near-vassal state, and even staunch Brexiteers declare that it would be better to remain in the EU than to accept a historic defeat. Let us listen to them. There is, never will be, and never could be a deal superior to the one we have now. Let us resolve to keep it. We must stay in the EU. That is what I have been saying on this channel for over 2 years, and probably before that, especially during the referendum. Time and time again on this channel, we have read countless opinions of experts giving the facts, stating this is what will happen if we do X, this is what will happen. And we've had Brexiteers down below in the comments decrying that it's just Project Fear. It's not. It's always been the reality. And that's where your delusions have put this country. And I'm just going to read that last statement again. So, as staunch Brexiteers declare that it would be better to remain in the EU than accept this historic defeat, let us listen to them. There is, never will be, and never could be a deal superior to the one we have now. Let us resolve to keep it. We must stay in the EU. And that's always been the truth.